Hi, it's Speculus here. And back in 1985, I made the decision that all of my school horses should get to retire at the farm. So we tend to see a little bit more old horse problems maybe than some riding schools do. There's a couple of my old guys here. At any rate, the one I want to talk about today is Cushing's disease. So Cushing's is like a tumor on the pituitary gland of the horse. I think the vets refer to it as PPID, which stands for pituitary something something dysfunction. I honestly don't remember what it is, but most people refer to it as Cushing's. I remember I had a vet once say to me that they used to think that some old horses will get Cushing's, but nowadays they actually think that all horses will get Cushing's if they live long enough. So again, because it's affecting the pituitary gland, that affects the management or regulation of their hormone production, and that affects the horse's metabolic state in a negative sort of way. So you'll find that with Cushing's horses, they will be more susceptible to laminitis. They have changes in their appetite, maybe weight loss and muscle atrophy. But I think the one that most people sort of associate with Cushing's, or at least what we see here most often, is the excessive hair growth and the lack of ability, it seems, for the horse to shed that out. There is a drug you can use now. There wasn't this way back in the day, but it's called Presend, and it seems to really be quite effective for at least managing Cushing's. It doesn't reverse it, but it can kind of slow the progress down a little bit. It's a pretty potent pill, so what we end up doing is we put it into a little bit of warm water, we add some molasses to it, and then we stir it into the horse's feed and let it absorb, because you really want to get all of it. You don't want the horse to be leaving it on the bottom of the feed bucket. But we found that the best way to get it into the horses, because they won't just eat it in a little cookie or something. You sort of have to wet it down. And you don't want to open that out of its package until you're ready to use it, because apparently it starts to lose some of its efficacy as soon as it hits the air. It does seem effective. We also, of course, have to clip them. So we've got two horses right now that are requiring this process. So this is Gus, and then we have another one named Ben. And they get clipped when they get into the spring and they don't shed out. You have to be a little careful with clipping horses, right? Because once you remove that, you're kind of responsible for their heat regulation. So if you're clipping horses in the fall, you got to make sure they're blanketed in the winter, because you've taken that natural thing away from them. So there's a few issues, like I say, that we have with Cushing's horses at our farm. But you know what? It's worth having the old guys around. I mean, look at this face. Who wouldn't want to keep this around as long as possible? At any rate, that's it for this week. Remember to thank your horse, and we'll talk to you soon.